to my first time. This is going to be the first episode in a new series that I'm rolling out that is around my first time making a new recipe that I've never tried ever before. In this episode, we're going to be using this, and this, plus 2 other ingredients, to make pasta without a machine for the first time. This is my first time, so I don't know if I'm gonna be successful or if I'm gonna be a failure. So you should definitely tune in, watch through the entire episode to see if I succeed or if I fail. And don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell icon to get immediate notifications for when I upload my next video to support my first time. Now we're gonna get cooking. Of this method, which is going to be a Cook's Illustrated recipe, is that you won't need a pasta making machine. You'll just need a food processor as well as a rolling pin. So to get started, we're going to go through our very short ingredient list. This basically has ingredients that hopefully you should have in your own home kitchen already. So all-purpose flour, just need about 2 cups of this, 2 whole eggs as well as 6 egg yolks, 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, as well as about 2.5 teaspoons of kosher salt. So I'm gonna add the eggs, and the olive oil, and the salt. Give that a little bit of a stir. We're gonna put this on, and then we get processing. Sounds like my food processor is really on overdrive. So it feels like I'm encountering some resistance. I'm gonna kind of pop it open. Ooh, okay, so it looks like I overworked the food processor because the pieces have kind of come apart. So it's very glutinous. So I'm going to try to pull this out. I guess if I thought this through, I probably could have just hand mixed it, but you know, trial and error. This is my first time, so don't be too harsh on me. Okay, so I was able to clean this up, and this is what the dough currently looks like, but because it's still quite sticky and I can't knead it by hand easily, I'm gonna add just a little bit more flour to get it more malleable. Maybe about a spoon or so. I'm just gonna knead this up. So this is what the dough should look like when you are done with your kneading. And as you can see, it doesn't stick to your fingers anymore. It's this beautiful yellow color because of those gorgeous yolks. So now we just need to form it into a cylinder or a log that's about 6 inches long. You don't need to be super exact, but I'm anal, so I'm gonna measure it. Actually, hey, that actually is about 6 inches. Hee hee. Okay, now we're just gonna cover it in plastic wrap and just let it sit for about anywhere from 1 to 4 hours. We're back. So it's been about 4 hours that I've allowed the cylinder dough to rest on the counter, but now we're just going to go through the process of creating this into the pasta noodles. So for equipment, we're going to need a rolling pin, a knife so that we can cut the cylinder into pieces, measuring tape if you're going to be super anal the way I am, and we'll also need some flour to make sure that the counter is nice and dry, and then some baking sheets that are lined with towels. Flour my counter. Now we're just going to quickly measure this out. It'll be about 6 inches. And then now we're going to score it so that we can evenly slice this out into 1-inch sections. Now we're gonna cut this into equal sized pieces. So we got 6 pieces that are about the same, so we're gonna put 5 of them aside and then work on 1. We'll do 1 section at a time. So with dough ball number 1, let's make sure to sprinkle it with flour on both sides. We're gonna make it into a 3 by 3 inch square. And I kind of press it out roughly till it's about 3 inches by 3 inches. We'll use a rolling pin, roll it into 6 by 6 inch square. So that's 6 inches. And this just needs to be a little bit longer, about half an inch. Okay, so that's about a 6 by 6 inch square. Now we're gonna roll it so that it is about 12 inches long. So roll it this way from the center, this way from the center, this way from the center, this way from the center. So the guide says that if it sticks to the counter, that's actually a good sign. So we just need to keep on dusting it on both sides with flour. The goal is to get the dough so that it is see-through so that you can actually see your fingers when you put your fingers underneath the dough. I think we're almost there actually, even though this isn't exactly 6 by 20. That looks pretty see-through, right? So this one isn't perfect, but I think we're pretty much at the consistency we want for this dough. So I'm gonna lay it out on my baking sheets with the towels lined. Now I'll continue the process with all the other dough balls. So after we let our little pasta sheets dry for about 15 minutes, you can see that the edges get really dried out, and it actually makes it easier to fold. We're gonna fold them roughly in like 1 to 2 inch sections on top of each other. And you'll notice that it doesn't stick because we let this dry out. So now I just got like a nice roll up here. So now we're gonna take a knife and we're gonna cut it into roughly 1/4 of an inch sections. So now I've got our noodles all rolled up, so we just need to loosen them like this. And shake them out. See? Now we've got our noodles. Whew, so that was a lot of work, but it was pretty fun to be able to roll out my own pasta noodles all by hand. And I'm gonna put this into boiling salted water for about 3 minutes, and they'll be ready to eat and try these out. The time has finally come to try our handmade pasta without a machine. So these are just fresh off of the stove. Just gonna grab a handful for my bowl. And then to eat this with, we have some tomato sauce that I just made. I'll also make sure to do a separate episode just on how I make my basic tomato sauce. We'll start topping it with the fixings. So we got the tomato sauce, some Parmigiano Reggiano, fresh basil. So again, this was my first time making handmade pasta, no machine. And I don't know, you take a look at this and ask me, I think I did a pretty good job. This is definitely worth a like, right? Okay, and now we take a taste. Here we go. It's really toothy. They have a really great al dente texture, and that egginess really comes through. This was definitely a project. It's my first time making homemade pasta without a machine. This was definitely a labor of love, but it was definitely worth it, at least for my first time. You can just see how uniquely shaped each of these noodles are. Clearly not store-bought, but hey, they call that rustic now, right? I hope you've enjoyed the first episode of my first time. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. This was definitely an adventure in the kitchen, and I hope that you'll look forward to future episodes where I'll show you my first time making other delicious things. And you'll be able to see whether I'm successful or not. I would love to hear what your experience has been like making pasta or anything that has to do with flour at home. Please subscribe for more food, more travel, and more cooking as I explore other delicious recipes and explore the rest of the world. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!